I have some breaking news just in. A witness that was implicated by the late Marius van der Merwe has survived a hit. Wiandre Pretorius, we're going to get into how he fits in later. He survived an assassination attempt this morning in Boksburg. So, this was an alleged assassination attempt in broad daylight, and he is a key figure who has been linked to the Madlanga Commission, and this comes after one witness, Witness D, has already been murdered, and there are still no arrests on that case. Has it gone cold? Now, what is really happening here? Well, on Thursday morning in Van Dyke Park, Boksburg, at approximately 9:25 a.m., three gunmen opened fire on a bakkie in Klapper Street near Buckenhout Street. Inside that vehicle was Wiandre Pretorius. Now, this man is linked to explosive testimony at the Madlanga Commission, and he survived, and police rushed to the scene. But this timing raises serious questions. Pretorius was previously named in the Madlanga Commission by Witness D. We know that he is some sort of police person. We're going to get into how he is linked now. And the same Witness D was shot down dead outside of his home in Brakpan last year in front of his wife and his children. And this is two connected figures, two shootings. Who wants to get rid of these witnesses? What do they know that is so dangerous? And more importantly, who are they linked to that has so much power? Now, the Madlanga Commission spokesperson said that authorities are on high alert. And after the assassination of Witness D, the Commission has worked with the National Security under NAT joints to protect witnesses and staff. They confirm that Pretorius has been in contact with law enforcement, and yes, they are concerned for their lives. The Commission is urging anyone with information to come forward. Now, these shootings come while shocking allegations of corruption and interference outside. These shootings come while shocking allegations of Marius wasn't the first, and he certainly won't be the last. That is according to members who have been implicated in the 15th of April 2022 cover-up, who have come forward and said that there is a hit list and that they are on it.
Also included Van der Merwe. And it's also thanks to the sensitive information they have about syndicate operations.
100% I did get a phone call to say, watch your back.
Do you think you're next?
I actually received a phone call that did warn me that I need to protect myself. Yeah, people might think because Marius is gone now, I'm the next big one to have information. I'm not scared that my life is short or I'm going to be taken out. Even though the threats were already given to me, I am more than capable to protect myself, but I fear for my family's life and I fear for people close to me. What happened to Marius in front of his family should have never happened. And I don't wish that upon anyone.
There's a hit list, apparently, as per what the information is. Marius was on the hit list, Etienne's on the hit list. A lot of people that was mentioned in the Madlanga Commission apparently is on the hit list. And apparently it's a crew from KZN that's doing the hits. So that's what the information we've got, and the information we will share with whoever needs to have the information.
Alleged they're now starring on a hit list.
But before we get into that, we are going to break down exactly what happened on that fateful night, on the 15th of April 2022 in Crocodile Road. This was the night that Witness D, Marius van der Merwe, stepped into a world that would be responsible for potentially taking his life. This is in a world of alleged rogue cops, extortion rings, medieval persuasion techniques, and cover-ups so violent. And the alleged people involved, they are still walking free. This is a full minute-by-minute breakdown of what happened. And this is the story that South Africa was never supposed to hear. Now, before we get going, remember to immediately hit that like and subscribe button. And everyone mentioned here is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. These are all allegations based on Marius van der Merwe's sworn testimony in front of the Madlanga Commission. I will link his full testimony below, so you can go watch it for yourself to make sure that I am not editing anything funny. Now, let's begin. So, on the night of the 15th of April 2022, Marius van der Merwe's phone started ringing. And this was a phone call that would change his life. On the other end of the phone call was Kobus Janse van Rensburg. This is the owner of Ghost Guard Security in Springs. And this is a call that would pull Marius van der Merwe into a nightmare that would change his life and would be potentially responsible for taking it. And Marius van der Merwe would come in front of the Madlanga Commission and expose the truth behind a violent alleged rogue network operating under the noses of the SAPS and the EMPD. Now, Kobus insists on this meeting, and Marius didn't want to go. I wonder what would have happened to him if he had stood his ground that night. And life is full of what ifs and all of that. But there were some circumstances that Marius was dealing with. His wife was in the hospital with his other child. He was looking after his other child, and he didn't want to go, but he was persuaded to go. So they meet and they have a briefing. And witness D, Marius van der Merwe, immediately notices that something is wrong when he meets up for this briefing before they head to the location. There are faces there that he recognizes. Men and women that he simply does not trust. And at that meeting at Sully's village, Brakpan, at around 9:30, according to the briefing, there was Kobus van Rensburg there, as well as Jaco Hanekom. Jaco Hanekom is that police informant of ill repute, according to witness D. Jaco Hanekom is also no longer with us. He was shot down. He was shot dead after allegedly spilling the beans on some of copper theft. But that is another episode. And a lineup of individuals who are associated with the police and allegedly part of something much darker. These people are all innocent until proven guilty. And they are Wiandre Pretorius, who, according to Marius, frequently pretended to be an SAPS officer, as well as Constable Jean-Marie Eckstein, part of the SAPS flying squad, Constable Zander Fritz, an SAPS reservist from Brakpan, 2 unknown Brakpan SAPS members, EMPD officer Aidan McKenzie, EMPD officer Kirsten Lee Stolz, as well as Etienne van der Walt from Titan Security. And this wasn't just policing. This seemed to be more like a private task team. And perhaps they were working outside of the law. Now, Marius immediately knew that something was wrong because he went with Kobus, the man who had called him out, and they went to the local BP to buy cool drinks. And he said he didn't like these people and that he didn't trust them. But Kobus allegedly doubled down and said the intel was confirmed by Jaco Hanekom, and they were going to go and do a knock, which is basically like a raid at a house in Crocodile Road. And this is when we need to change the scene and go to Crocodile Road. Marius van der Merwe would arrive alone in a marked Guardian vehicle, a black Ford Ranger, and he parks opposite the property. He gains entry into an outside, and with him is Mackenzie and Eckstein, and they find a couple and a baby. Eckstein identifies the reason that they are there and starts asking this couple about the suspects and his movement. Then they get a call that the suspect has been located in the main house. The 3 of them then go through the kitchen door, and while he is going through the kitchen door, witness D, or Marius van der Merwe, spots a truck that was used in the warehouse robbery. He recognizes the license plates, and they meet up in the main house with Fritz, Pretorius, Stolz, and the unknown male suspect. Now, this is when everything changes because Marius van der Merwe says that he sees Wiandre Pretorius and those 2 unknown SAPS members pushing the suspect into a second room. While this is happening, the rest of them are searching the house. They find dockets where the suspect is mentioned. They find live ammunition, and they find forensic bags. This is odd. Now, witness D then, according to his own account, enters the bedroom to see Wiandre Pretorius allegedly tubing the suspect using that medieval persuasion technique. And witness D then sits next to the suspect and uses a wooden table leg to hold him down while Wiandre Pretorius continues to use the medieval persuasion technique. Then, according to his own account, he leaves the room. And they get to the point where the suspect has offered them 500,000 Rand in order to leave him alone. And this is important because a sports bag is going to be mentioned later, which I want you to pay attention to. Now, after a while, they determine that the stock was not there while he is in the house. He is not in the same room now where the medieval persuasion techniques is happening. He sees one EMPD officer take a bucket of water to where the suspect was. He claims that Stolz was searching the cupboard, and then he walked out of the house and stood on the front steps. Marius then walks back into the kitchen and he sees her on the phone, and she suddenly starts shouting at everyone to leave. And then he noticed those two unknown SAPS members leaving the house in haste, carrying the sports bag. I wonder what was in that sports bag. Now, witness D then exits the house and he is joined by Kobus and the others near the truck. Kobus is the one that called him out. Now, Stolz and Wiandre Pretorius join them. Pretorius is the one that allegedly used the medieval persuasion techniques. Now, when asked what has happened, Pretorius replies to witness D and allegedly says the suspect will never talk again. And while this is happening, I can imagine that there is chaos. And according to witness D, Marius van der Merwe's testimony, Kirsley Stolz is trying to phone the paramedic to declare the suspect dead. And Wiandre Pretorius then says he would phone General Feroz Khan to fix this. Wow. Then Pretorius says, if anyone talks, the one who talks will go to jail for this. Then witness D, Marius van der Merwe, he walks away from Wiandre Pretorius. He says that tensions were heightened. And he says that him and Pretorius, Wiandre, have had issues in the past. And then Yaku Hanekam walks towards them and informs them that the chief will come and sort the issue out. Now, then we see Eckstein, Fritz, the members leaving, including Kobus Janse van Rensburg, to go and allegedly look for a firearm to plant at the house. Now, we got to keep track of people's movements because now we know that those two SAPS, unidentified SAPS members have left with the sports bag, and now Stolz, and now Eckstein, Fritz, and Kobus Janse van Rensburg, the man who allegedly called witness D out, has also left to go and look for a firearm. So at the house, according to his testimony, we have Stolz and Mackenzie, who are both EMPD members. We have Yaku Hanekom, the informant, and then we have Etienne van der Walt, who is the owner of a security company. And then Julius Mkhwanazi allegedly arrives at around 2 a.m. in a dark tracksuit. Yaku Hanekom and Wiandre Pretorius address him as chief. So they are having a meeting, and standing off at the side is Etienne van der Walt, and Marius, part of the EMPD. They are in private security, and this is around 2 a.m. Now, Mkhwanazi then addresses all of them, allegedly, and says that they need to throw the body in a dam or a mine shaft. Now, Wiandre Pretorius then, and according to his testimony, Marius says that Julius Mkhwanazi made eye contact and looked at him, and it was sort of expected that he's the one that has to do it. Now, Wiandre Pretorius informs Marius that he must dump it. It'll be the safest because he has a marked vehicle, a marked security vehicle. And then Wiandre Pretorius allegedly directs him where to park the vehicle. He is escorted to his vehicle by the EMPD members, which is Stolz and Mackenzie. And he is told where to park his vehicle. He had left his vehicle outside. He had parked it across the road. And according to reports, they couldn't even get the vehicle in. So Jaco Hanekom had to break the gate to get the bakkie in. Then Marius van der Merwe walks to the main gate because he wants really nothing to do with this. And he says that while this is happening, Jaco Hanekom and Etienne van der Walt, who is Jaco Hanekom, who is the informer who has now been killed, and Etienne van der Walt from the private security company, allegedly load household items into their vehicles. Etienne van der Walt had his girlfriend at the time in another vehicle waiting for him that was parked outside in an SUV. Now, Wiandre Pretorius and Jaco Hanekom allegedly load the body into the Ford Ranger, while Etienne van der Walt was in and out the house. And then someone tells Marius van der Merwe that someone is cleaning the house. Now, then they go in a convoy. So he follows Aidan McKenzie from EMPD, allegedly, and Wiandre Pretorius, the one who allegedly carried out the medieval persuasion techniques, follows behind him. And he is scared at this time. According to his own testimony, he sends his wife a WhatsApp with his live location saying, "If you do not hear from me in the next hour and a half, phone the police, you know where I am." And he allegedly follows Aidan McKenzie to a dam where Mackenzie instructs him to dump the body. Marius van der Merwe then parks 2 meters from the dam. And he said that he placed the feet in the water and he laid the rest of the body on the banks. And then he receives a call while driving back from Eckstein saying, "Is this done?" He says yes. And then she says, "We will see you on the way home." And then it basically ends the call. Now, according to him, they were waiting for him. He recognized their vehicles and he pulled onto the side. And Kobus asks if he was okay. Remember, Kobus and Eckstein, they allegedly went to go and look for that gun. Eckstein then wanted to know how deep the body was. And when Witness D explained where he had placed it, she wasn't happy about it. And she wanted him to go back and check. And he said, "No, we have to go home now." And then they all agreed to go home. And during this time, according to Witness D's testimony, Zander Fritz, Jaco Hanekom, Jean-Marie Eckstein, and Wiandre Pretorius said that they were going for drinks. And he found this odd because Zander Fritz had said that he was struggling for money. So Witness D then returns home. He doesn't join them for drinks. And he allegedly burns his clothes and shoes the following morning. He showers and he tries to sleep, but he can't. Now, at around 7 a.m. the next morning, he receives a phone call from Kobus Janse van Rensburg. This is the person who, according to Marius, recruited him into this whole thing. And the last call was around 9 a.m. Now, Kobus wanted to meet at a Wimpy at around 10, and Marius eventually agrees to go. Kobus wanted to know where the body was placed and wanted to know how it was dumped. Now, Marius would say that he felt pressured by this conversation. He felt like Kobus was asking him questions on behalf of everyone else. And they traveled together to the location in Kobus's vehicles where he had dumped the body. And they noticed SAPS vehicles. And they turned around and drove back to the Wimpy where he had left his vehicle. Now, at 5 p.m. that evening, he is supposed to he is called out by a team member to provide backup at a robbery in Benoni, and Eckstein was there. Eckstein was dressed in police pants and boots, and she was armed, but she was in a private jacket. And she allegedly asks if Jaco Hanekom can come drive back with Marius van der Merwe, because Jaco Hanekom was there. He was sitting in a marked police vehicle. And Marius van der Merwe refused, and then he left because he was still, I think, in my own opinion, he was still struggling to come to terms with what had happened. And then at around 8 p.m. that evening, he receives a call from an unknown number, which is again Constable Eckstein, and she asks if they can meet. And they agree to meet at 8:30 at a restaurant. And when he gets to that restaurant, he finds Wiandre Pretorius. He finds Eckstein there. He finds Jaco Hanekom, Zander Fritz. And basically, he asks if they know that the police, they ask him, does he know that the police found the body? And he replies he did. And this frustrated Eckstein and Wiandre Pretorius. Remember, Wiandre Pretorius is the one who's accused of using the medieval persuasion techniques. And we find out that Eckstein and Pretorius are allegedly a couple. Now, Jaco Hanekom says that Julius Mkhwanazi will cover for them. And Zander Fritz then says he cannot go to prison because he has a family. And Marius found this odd because Zander was paying for drinks again the whole night, even though despite complaining about money issues. Now, Wiandre Pretorius then allegedly says that between Kobus, remember, Kobus van Rensburg is the one who drew, allegedly, Marius into this, but he wasn't at this meeting. Pretorius says that between Kobus and Witness D, one of them will talk and one of them will go to the police. And then he says that he will deal with them. Marius then gets upset and he phones Kobus and says that you need to come and meet me because you got me into this. You got to come and sort this out. You've got to come and sort your mess out. And Kobus comes, but he doesn't want to come into the restaurant. They meet outside. And because he said that Kobus did not want to see the others. Now, Witness D tells Kobus that he's going to the police. And Kobus said, you know, they will kill you if you go to the police. These are very dangerous people. 3 days later, Witness D then informs someone else who has gone to the media with denials. I'll play their clip. Chris Smith.
Another private security operator, Chris Smith, was also implicated by Van der Merwe and alleged he was involved in a truck hijacking. But Smith denies this.
I did nothing wrong. Everything that we do is, at the end of the day, is to make sure that the guys, the companies and so forth, reduce their risk, even insurance companies, and to try and reduce the risk and make sure that people stay employed. I wish he was still here, because now I don't have a chance to counter him and take him in front of the Madlanga Commission or in front of public for him to retract his statements. I'm very upset that he's passed away, and yes, he didn't deserve the way that he did, but he was supposed to retract his statements. If the Madlanga Commission asks me to come and give evidence, I will give evidence.
And now Chris Smith was part of the Track Squad. It's a company that focuses on vehicle and stock recoveries. This is owned by Etienne van der Walt, who was there, allegedly there that evening. And Marius tells Chris Smith about the incident and says that he wants to speak to someone about it. And then after speaking to Chris, the whole group that was there that evening allegedly comes to his office in Parktown to meet with his employer. Now, his employer allegedly knew both Stolz and Wiandre Pretorius, and Witness D had informed his employer about the incident, what had happened the following Monday. He was sort of put in this room with these people, allegedly, and his employer, and he felt like his employer was siding with them. And his employer's name was George Mauritius, who recorded the whole meeting. And then it was said that Witness D, Marius van der Merwe, must take a polygraph test to see if he was talking to the police. And a week later he did. He allegedly took a polygraph test hours before his father's funeral, and it was the wife of his boss who administered the test. Now, in July 2022, he submits statements to the police. He meets with IPID officers twice, one of whom was killed in a shooting this year. I checked it out. It was a robbery in Springs. It doesn't seem to be anything suspicious about it. He was off duty at the time and he saw a robbery happen and he acted and he died like a hero. And now, then we know that this is where the copper link comes in, because there is a copper link. So we're going to get into this in a future video. But Stolz according to Witness D's testimony, Stolz and Mackenzie, these are these two EMPD officers, come to a crime scene that he had secured, wanting to take the crime scene over for copper recovery. I'm going to get into that in a follow-up video because it's just too much for one video. But I want you to keep this in mind. Now, according to Marius van der Merwe's testimony, the recovered copper was submitted back to the client. He also claimed in his testimony that Jaco Hanekom, Chris Smith, Etienne van der Walt, all had some form of appointment letters from EMPD stating that they were part of a truck hijacking task team. And these letters that Witness D saw were allegedly signed by Julius Mkhwanazi. And they personally participated in operations. They recovered copper and cobalt, and instead of allegedly returning it to the people, they would demand a 600,000 Rand recovery fee. So this was an alleged extortion ring, which was done with Julius Mkhwanazi's knowledge.
The Madlanga Commission, Van der Merwe implicated several individuals, including suspended Deputy EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and private security industry players. This is Etienne van der Walt. Witness D, known as Van der Merwe, implicated him at the Madlanga Commission. Van der Merwe told the commission that Van der Walt, an informant Jaco Hanekom, and Chris Smith from private security had appointment letters from EMPD stating that they formed part of an EMPD truck hijacking task team. Van der Merwe also said the group was at the crime scene in Brakpan in 2022 and alleged a suspect was tortured and chewed to death. Etienne van der Walt has denied any wrongdoing.
We've been implicated in truck hijacking for the last 4 or 5 years. Myself and Chris spoke about it quite a few times. We weren't happy about it because, you know, you do such good work. And we've on numerous occasions actually made a joke of it and said, let them just come and arrest us and let it get over and done with so that everyone can see that we are clean. When I spoke to my lawyer and he actually said to me, they are going to think that you are protecting him. I don't know Julius that much. I worked with him on 2 occasions and I've met with him on about 4 or 5 occasions. But I've got nothing to protect Julius on. If Julius is wrong in the eyes of the law, he needs to answer to his own wrongdoings.
While we still try and uncover who ordered the hit on his life, the only thing that we have left to dissect is his last words. And we have to look at his statement, which was given under oath, and we have to dissect it. Because this man perhaps died for this statement that he gave in front of the Madlanga Commission, and we can only honor him by keeping his legacy alive. Now, thank you to all my channel members, thank you to all my subscribers, and thank you to everyone who watches. It is dangerous out there. Remember to watch your six, and the truth is running out of places to hide. And slowly we are scratching our way towards it.